Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to give you guys a review on a show that my household loves. My two sons very much so love, and that is Bluey. Bluey, if you don't know, is a little blue dog who has a family. They are called the Healers, and you have mother named Chili, and you got a sister named Bingo, and then you got the amazing, crazy, insane dad. And the last two episodes that have come out, one was called Sign, which is episode 49 of season 3, and episode 50 that's called Surprise has just released out. So I'm gonna preface it like this: I've never reviewed Bluey, let alone review Bluey with anybody else. And so the person that I have as the co-host, they have been, I think, probably in the last week only, have just started to look at any of these episodes. And we did not plan this. This was not planned at all. But I felt like since we watched it, I think we should review it and give people like their perspective. And maybe you guys might see our reactions to it as well. So I'm have here Busy Brown. What's up, Busy?
This I feel like we're watching this on April 1st. Like it feels like something we shouldn't be doing, but I'm kind of happy that we're doing it. Cuz I mean, this has been something that I feel like we watched it as a joke. It was like, "Hey, yeah, let's put on Bluey if we don't know what else to watch." In
Right.
between checking out some other stuff. And it was one of the most calming, but at the same time it just like blew my mind that like they throwing in twists like like this is a children's show, but I was openly like, "Whoa." Like,
Right.
I shouldn't be like that, I didn't think I'd feel like that, but knowing that this episode just it's like a 30-minute episode and it just came out, I was like, and then you were like, "You know what? It would be interesting if we tried and see how people enjoyed it." So I'm like, let's give it our best."
Yeah, and again, we don't know if you guys are watching this review. We appreciate you for giving us the time of day because we don't cover this on a regular basis. We are critics and we are content creators, but we do not normally cover content like this. So
Yeah,
I
we'll do the
appreciate
Wiggles
you guys
next
for
if you
doing it.
enjoy this.
I'm not gonna make that promise, but I will say I kind of want Busy to kind of harp in before we get into the two episodes to just kind of a little bit like because one of the first episodes that Busy watched was the cricket episode,
Mhm.
and I think that that one was a really good introduction episode to make you understand that the show isn't just about the kids themselves; it's also about the adults and the
Yep.
understanding of progression of life. And
And this episode really had like kind of like a comparison to that episode as well, specifically with the ending.
yeah,
But we'll dive into that after.
yeah. No, it absolutely did. But
Mhm.
yeah, so for you, like, what was it about I almost said, what was it about Bluey that made you feel like, I can watch more? What was it that you think you can kind of pinpoint? Because
It
I
was
feel
just
like you can probably feel it in these two episodes as well.
Yeah, it's like realistically, I mean, I feel like you watch this because you have kids, so when you threw it on for me, it was more of like, like, "Oh, let's check it out, it's a joke."
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, it was just something about the calming vibe of a children's show, but the fact that like it wasn't poorly written. It wasn't
Right.
written for a kid to understand like by like it doesn't feel talked down, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have messages in there that aren't just for the children, it's for the family and
Yeah.
for everyone kind of to learn together, I guess, as corny as that sounds, but it's just like we're watching this and the parents are learning, but on top of that, there's jokes that are thrown in for the parents, for people
Oh,
that
it's definitely for the
there's a lot of
yeah.
jokes, and it's like usually I see kids shows do that every now and then, but it's like one of those things that you need to really be paying attention. But these
Mhm.
are just so open. It's
Yeah.
like ridiculous, but at the end of the day, kids aren't gonna catch it, so it's not harmful to them. But the messages that are being thrown in here are just so they're just they're so great. Like I feel like a lot of shows don't have the courage to do what this show is kind of doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it was, but it was just the calming vibe, but at the same time feeling as though I'm not just wasting my time. It was interesting. So I really liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'll be the first to admit, you guys, like me and my wife, we love this show. Like our kids love it, but I think we low key actually might love it a little bit more because, like, one of my kids is like 2 and the other one is 5. So they're not old enough to kind of be like, "Oh, this is my everything." They change on the top of a dime. They might like Bluey today and like something else tomorrow. So with this, this is a very interesting episode 49 because it starts off showing that the healers are moving. They're selling their house, and anybody that's kind of gone through a situation where you like whether you're a military family or you've had to move out because of certain circumstances, you know how hard that can kind of be. Because one, you have to uproot yourself away from your friends and your family. But specifically for us as the audience, if you've been watching up until this point, they don't just focus on Bluey. They focus on all the different characters. Every single character gets a moment to be able to breathe life into the story. And so the idea of us taking the healers and moving them to the city away, one, that's a little scary because we don't know what that actually means for the story and the plot point. But then two, that means that we're going to be removed from the characters just like the main characters are. And of course, Bluey is devastated, and her mom Chili is kind of like, things are gonna be better, it's gonna be okay, and she's trying to convince herself while at the same exact time trying to work through this way
Yeah,
that's
and
happening.
that's so real. It was so deep to see her kind of really trying her best to comfort the kids, but at the same time, realistically not being ready for the move herself.
Yeah,
But to the point of you talking about how each character was kind of introduced and kind of like going with the idea, we saw how everyone was kind of coping with it. It was really interesting because, of course, we have Bluey, who's a little older than Bingo. And then we have Bingo. I can't believe we're actually doing this, but to have Bingo, we were seeing her, her reaction to everything. And again, like it was just interesting to see Bingo like not fully understanding and then consistently being like, "Oh, that's cool. We sold the house." "Oh, that's cool. They bought the house. Oh, these 2 dogs are on our property. That's awesome." And then at the end when they're like, "Okay, why did our table go invisible? Where
right.
is our couch?" And then for her to slowly process that this, happened, and for the parents to have to go down and let them know like, "Did you not know what this meant?" "Well,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought you selling the house meant that we sold the house, but we still get to live in it." And so like, "No, buddy." But it was just really interesting to kind of, dive all over that?
yeah, because I mean, realistically, that's what a kid would do. Like a kid would be like, "Oh yeah, sure, they can stay here. They can stay in our guest room." Like, what's the issue? Like, yeah, we're gonna get more money into the house, so not I'm gonna have to take my bed. Like when Bingo saw the end of the episode, she was like, "Wait, why are they moving all our stuff out? Am I not gonna be able to see my friends?" And she ran out with the tears in her eyes and was trying to lift up the sign. And this whole entire episode, Bluey's mind was like, okay, if I remove the sign, that means that nobody's gonna buy the house. And what ended up happening was the bride to be was looking for, her husband to be, and he basically was like, "Yeah, we're moving to West," and he didn't tell her. Marriage 101, you start how
Yep.
you want to finish, and if you sit there and do it like that, it's going to be an issue. But she also was really overreacting because she's anxiety ridden. She's about to
Mhm.
get married. This always happens, and so Chili was trying to calm her down, and she's like, oh, "Okay, I'll wait." And then she was waiting for the call to happen. As soon as she was trying to lift up the sign, she gets a call. And Blue is like, "Yo, forget the darn wedding. Like, stop the sign. I'm trying to
Yeah.
stay." And so then it goes to this excursion where they're trying to track the bride down, and Bluey is still processing her own emotions. But throughout that whole thing, they're also learning stuff along the way. They're trying to learn to cope with what's actually happening. Like it's so weird that they had two different story threads, but at the same that time, they're still ending in the same exact point. And at the end of it, you know, even though she was upset with him making that decision, he also had to compromise. He was like, "I know where you are. I know what's going on," and I love the fact that that's real. Like if realistically he wants to have her in his life, like he's gonna have to compromise. He has to figure out what the middle ground is. And what that did is that messed the parents up because they were like, "Crap, he made a drastic decision." He like even like Bandit like asked like, "You sure you making right?" He's like, "Probably not." But Bandit in his head, and you already talked about Bluey, you already talked about Bingo. But for Bandit, his mind goes like with most dads, how do I make the best life for my kid? Like, if that means me moving away and getting a better job, making more of a sourceable income, this is the only thing that makes sense. But what is the loss? And so when he heard that, he was thrown off. And I don't know. I just love the fact that you balance these different conflicts that adults have to deal with. We all are adulting. And it's weird to see that in the context of a kid show. That's really weird because by the time we got to this point right here, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was so happy and emotional all at the same that time.
I know it had no business being as emotional as it was, and that's why I keep coming around to. I can't believe we're reviewing this, but at the same time, it actually gave us like the same emotional shock as some of the other serious shows that we've watched, which is just such a big testament to what the writers are doing right now. It's
Yeah.
just actually incredible. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, because they honestly, I was kind of just like, dang, that's the way to end the series. If they legit just committed and just was like, well, we don't know where the next journey is gonna go, and that's it. It could really end like that, but instead they gave us this moment with the dad and like Chili again before they even made it there. Chili kind of broke down in front of the kids, like, look, Bluey, I'm scared too. I don't want to leave. And I love how human that is. So that when they got to this moment to have this moment together with no furniture in the house, just a kiwi rug, it meant everything. And it was the perfect ending to the episode that had a lot of laughs, some cries, some surprises, a little bit of drinking, and a little bit of partying. Um, but it was freaking dope, man. I really was impressed by this episode. And small little tidbit, if you guys were watching the series, you know who this young lady is, and that is Chili's sister. And Chili's sister, she had an episode where she was really jealous and really upset and envious that Chili got to have what she's always wanted, which is a baby. And like she got her little happy ending as well. So I thought that this episode was really dope. Do you have any closing remarks on episode 49?
No, but when you said that to me, I was kind of caught off guard because I'm really new. I don't know what I'm getting into. It's only a few episodes that I've seen, and for you to tell me that there was an episode that dove into a subject matter that deep just kind of furthers what I was saying. With
Yeah.
how like the serious like undertones or the serious tones that the show has, but at the same time it's extremely educational, and I don't feel like the serious tones are harming the viewers in any manner. It's just there for the educational purposes, and I truly admire that. For you to tell me about that episode that existed, and for them to not even kind of bring it up before to just be like a kind of like a little Easter egg in the back, just kind of shows how much more impressive this show is from a writing standpoint. Just the little detail of that. It's just sweet. But the thing is, this entire episode felt like a big goodbye. But I
It
don't think
did.
that's not the case. But still, I mean, it's just they did just such a good job, man. It was just extremely impressive.
Yeah, I was yeah, I was impressed. I thought this was a really good episode. So if I had to rate it A plus or A, at it A between A and F, this is the A or either A plus for me. Um, but yeah, the name of the next episode is called Surprise. So Surprise basically had Bingo and Bluey having different things that they wanted to play. Bingo wants to be a mom, and she just wants somebody to take care of her kids, and she keeps on popping out kids. And some of the kids are a little misshapen, some of them are twins. She loves them the same. And Bluey's got this like robotic
RoboCop, Buzz Lightyear type deal.
type thing that she borrowed from a friend, and she just wants to play. And the dad is in between. Now, the beginning of the episode was kind of like they asking like, "What is it like to be, to have a baby?" And the dad, he did the best job he could as a dad. He took everything they did seriously. And that's one of the things I compliment about the show as its entirety. Whenever they dive into like, oh, like Bingo wants to do magic or Bluey wants to be an explorer, like they allow their kids to have that realistic emotion through the imagination. And he kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna take this as serious as possible. I'm not gonna drop this baby. I'm gonna sing to it. I'm gonna give Bingo everything she needs and wants, which makes the marks of a really good dad. But it also, to me, for the episode, it also showed how much it takes being a parent. Because when you're trying to balance things that you want to do, which he just wanted to watch the game the whole entire time, and at the same that time, he knew he had to try to balance taking care of the kid, and he also knew he had to try to go and do work to parent. And that is a very interesting thing because it kind of lead me two different roads. I don't know if they're alluding that there might have another kid.
Okay.
Um, I don't know. It's more so like just to show the significance of what it means to actually, take care of someone in that way. But it still was just really well done. And again, this was only 7 minutes. Most of the episodes are 7 to 9 minutes in general, but there's a huge surprise at the end of the episode. We'll get to in a second. But what did you think about it? This episode 50?
I thought it was cool. I mean, it was definitely a good way to kind of like wind us down,
Hmm.
considering that the last episode felt like a finale. But then
Yep.
this episode does something that the cricket episode does. Well, the cricket episode did, and that was show a little glimpse of the future,
Hmm.
which really caught me off guard. Like you're watching, you're like, what is going on? What is going on?
Right.
And I'm just like, I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, we see adult Bluey walk through the door,
Right.
and that's the same thing that happened in the cricket episode where we're seeing the kid playing cricket, and then we dive into like while he's walking off the field after he lets his little like sister get a hit or a catch on him, we just see the older version of him coming out playing professional.
Yeah.
And it was just such a cool moment, you know? But like to see that happening here where we see adult Bluey, and then hear that Bingo's there. We don't see Bingo, but I'm pretty sure we're introduced to Bluey's kid. I don't know if that was Bluey's kid, but we see a kid playing with the same toy but a little more advanced version
Yep.
in, the future. It was just such a cool little thing. They didn't need to do it, but they did it and it was fun.
Yeah. It was a sweet episode. And it's interesting because I don't so I was gonna ask you, is this the future or is this present day? And then two, is this basically saying this is the 50th episode, we're done? I'm saying that because they could do that, but the way that the cricket episode ended, I felt the same exact way. But it's weird because these last two episodes really felt like a
Goodbye.
series
Yeah.
finale.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like this isn't the cricket episode was different because that was a character that wasn't like a main character. This is the entire family at the end of it all. So it did feel like that. If they ended it like this, I would totally get it. I think it would be a cool send off. But at the same time, I know parents are going to be a little salty about it, considering with how well they've handled this. And the fact is, if they end it now, it's gonna go out as one of the best children's show, in my opinion. Considering that this is just it again so educational, but so well written. But again, I wouldn't want to see it end. I think it's cool to continue it.
Yeah, I think that because so there's also another episode I hadn't shown you yet where Bluey meets someone who's a boy, and they do something where they show like a little flash forward there too. So they do that quite a bit. You know how like the Simpsons do
Oh, okay,
flash
okay,
forward.
okay.
So I say that to say because this episode didn't come before the finale episode, I'm leading to they probably got more episodes to go.
All
But
right, yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I thought this was really good. Anything else you have any takeaways from what you got from this episode?
No, I'm just really shocked that we actually did a full on Bluey review. Pretty cool stuff.
We
Yeah,
did the daggone thing.
we did it, man.
What's your ratings of the two episodes and just your thoughts on the season as a whole for
An
what you
A
think?
and an A minus. Um, I truly think that this has been a journey, a little bit of it's so out of my element, but at the same time, it was really cool to kind of hear from your experiences, someone who does have two kids, and the fact that you are not only comfortable showing your children it, but you're comfortable as a person watching it because
Yeah.
it does have some really, good values to it. So it was interesting to hear your story as your side of it as, a parent. But at the end of the day, I do not have a child, so don't plan on it anytime soon. But it's just really interesting to see, you know, how these shows are kind of, you know, understood or how they're created because it just caught me off guard with how well this show is, how well the show is. So it was interesting for sure.
Yeah. And again, you guys, if you guys you want to see our reactions to these two episodes, which we did do, please let us know in the comment section below because it will be on whose channel?
Bizzy's channel. It'll be over here, Ron. If you guys are genuinely interested in it, we will have the reaction for this episode, and we also have a couple more episodes, such as the cricket episode. So if you guys actually want to see it, let me know. I will throw it up. It's up to you.
But yeah, you guys, we're gonna go. Here's hoping for this season 4. But if not, this was still an amazing series. So we'll talk to you guys soon. Keep it locked, JVS. We ain't gonna stop. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace, people. Boop, 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 boop.